Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another episode of Theme Park Universe, episode 9. I'm here with some fantastic guys right here. Now, this is Theme Park Casual and Marty Snyder. Guys, how are we doing today?
Doing fantastic.
Fantastic.
Thanks for having us on, man.
Awesome. And that's, well, that can only mean one thing right there. Ah, yes. See, the spirit of Wizard is always with us. We're gonna see if he can actually join us later in the show. But it's amazing to get these guys together right here. Could not be missed. And so, Wizard's like, "Hey, how about you host the show?" And I'm like, "Hey, let's go ahead and do that." Theme Park Casual. I know a lot of our viewers already know who you are, so it's just But I have to give you all the kudos in the world. You run a fantastic YouTube channel. Why don't you go ahead and give everybody listening right now where they can find you?
Well, you can find me on YouTube, where I live stream from the Disney parks, Knott's Berry Farm, and even once from Universal Hollywood. But you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram, all of those at Theme Park Casual, where we have theme park thoughts, news, and discussion for the casual visitor from a former theme park commando. You're muted, sir.
See? Thanks. I do appreciate it. Marty, why don't you go ahead and let the folks know at home where they can find you?
You'll find me on X at Marty084. That's my only platform. I will promote this dude's merch, though, on his site. It is phenomenal. Like I got a couple sweaters, but like he themes his channel logo and stuff. It's awesome. It's just great to like be able to go into the parks and wear something that's set up with the with the seasonal event that you're going to. I like casual stuff a lot.
Yeah, and thank you very much, man. I do appreciate it. And did you see the new one?
No, I did not. I'll be taking a look at it.
Yeah, I haven't put it on the store yet, but we've got a new thing on TPC. Okay. If we end up, let me see. Can I share my screen at this point?
Oh, yeah. If you
Actually, let me see if I can just throw some. Can I throw an attachment in the chat?
Sure. Go ahead.
Let me see.
And I think we have a special guest right here. Let me see how this is going to work here. Wizard,
hello.
Are you with us?
Can you hear me?
We can.
We can, sir.
Hello. I'm here. Breaking news, I'm here.
Man, well, we didn't quite expect this so soon. So, hey, thank you for dropping by. Casual, you got that that drop in right there?
I'm trying to find it. I should have had it ready. I apologize.
Oh, no, you're fine. You can also present, too.
Yeah, let me get it, because I need to... I'm not even sure. I might be doxing myself if I present, because I've got everything all over the place.
I see.
Anyways,
yeah.
If you go back to one of my recent live streams, we've debuted a new little stinger, new little graphic. If we get to a ride or attraction that is 101 broken down, we call it a theme park casualty, and we've got a graphic and everything for it. So
this synergy on theme parks channel.
I'm telling you, man. I love my brand. I'm having so much fun with it. And, the member, I gave a little member emoji. So it's a little skull with the ice cream smashed into it. So it's the
branding, the logo, the graphic design. Oh, Casual kills it every single time. And I know he's very proud of it as well.
Yeah,
but
I have a blast.
Marty, I don't think people got your social media.
Oh, just on X, Marty084.
There you
go. Where you find me.
Now, Wizard.
Sports in theme parks.
Oh, I do apologize. Thank you. Wizard, you still there?
I'm still here for a little bit.
For a little bit. Okay, well, that's fair. So if you are here for a little bit, I think we should start on Theme Park Casual right here. Let me go ahead and share my screen right here. Now, Casual, I did not know this. I thought you had visited Universal Studios several times, and that it was old hat, it was old news, but maybe hadn't visited for a while, like say Disneyland or something. Mm-hmm. But I did not know that this was your first visit in a long time.
Yeah, very, very long time. Like,
Right.
I think we're talking like possibly before 1980 was the last time I went
Oh
to Universal
my!
Hollywood.
And I believe you found a little friend there. Is that right?
Yes, amazingly enough, I did get to run into a certain someone.
There it is,
Oh,
right
That handsome
there.
devil.
Fantastic. You guys were exploring the parks together. I thought this was a really, really cool moment on your live stream. I
Yeah.
didn't expect it, but I wanted to tune in because I knew that this was a rare appearance by Casual
Yeah,
at Universal.
I was honored because this was kind of a last minute thing. The client took the team out for a team building day, a thank you day, and Wizard just showed up in the afternoon like that, just because he wanted to be there for my first day there, and I was
That's
touched. I was
right.
honored.
Casual, your experience?
Well, it was a little tough because we were traveling in a group of I think like 13 of us,
Mhm.
and I think we spent probably almost 2 hours at Toadstool Cafe, but got to see so much of the park, missed out on a few things, but I was absolutely blown away by several parts of the park. I mean, Super Nintendo World, amazing. Just the kinetics alone is jaw-dropping. The ride, as much as I wish it wasn't a game and shooter, it was fun as heck. I was enjoying, at one point I just kind of like didn't even bother with any of the shooting. I just wanted to look around and see what was happening. And it was, just beautiful sets, the augmented reality, the AR, it's really, really cool, really well done. The dinosaurs on Jurassic World, the animatronics, just phenomenal, towering over you. And then to finally experience Harry Potter, the land, the ride, I now understand why it was a flashpoint in the industry, a game-changing moment for theme parks everywhere, because it is, I mean, seriously, I have only seen the first movie once, never read any of the books, and I was absolutely enthralled with that entire land, the ride. I had never watched anything of it because I knew someday I'm going to get on it, and I don't want to be I want to be surprised.
Good man.
I have never been on edge the way I was on that ride. I was like, I had no idea what was coming around the corner next. I didn't know when there was going to be a jump scare. I didn't know when something was going to seem like as if it's going to punch me in the face. It was absolute insanity. I got off that ride and I was just like, that was probably the most intense thing I've ever dealt with at a theme park. And I will say, with all the warnings that they have for that ride, I really think they need to add arachnophobia to it. And that's all
Oh
I'm
Yeah.
going to
yeah,
say.
big spider.
Because holy mackerel, if you are terrified of spiders, I'm surprised they haven't had somebody fall out of that ride because they are just freaking the hell out.
I will say the first time. Oh, go ahead, Wizard.
I'd say that's funny because my fiance, last time she rode it with Mr. King the car, they got stuck right where the spider is looking at you, and they were
Oh
stuck
my
there for
God.
like 5 minutes.
So I'll say though, as far as the land goes, this is great hearing your perspective from it, Casual. I have been since Kit from Knight Rider was a thing in Universal. He would ask him questions, and he'd sit there and tell you answer. But
Yeah.
but I haven't been I think 10 years ago was the last time we'd gone, and then my family bought passes last year after COVID and everything, and that was my first time. I think we bought one day ticket to see Harry Potter Land previous and the Wizarding World. And I kind of agree. Like, I know Galaxy's Edge costs more money, and I know Galaxy's Edge is grander. But I don't know if I feel the same way when I'm in Galaxy's Edge as I do in
Right.
Wizarding World. And there's a difference with that. And some of it is even kinetic energy off of the Hippogriff ride. Like there's stuff going on. There's things happening. So
And one
it
has
hits
a better
different.
drink.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I did get a
I
frozen
think
butter
Vash
beer.
has all the stats on that.
Oh, I do. Let's go ahead and go with casual experience here, and I'll go into
Okay.
all of it for sure.
I did get one of the frozen butter beers, and it was tasty, a fantastic little drink. But like I said, I think the part that got me was how I wanted to explore that entire land. I was bummed that I didn't have time to just go into every single shop, every single little nook and cranny.
There's so much.
I wanted to go, I wanted to go hang out in the Three Broomsticks, all of that, but I just didn't have time. It was one day. They closed,
Well,
I think, at
guess what,
6.
Casual?
Yeah.
You're gonna come back, and I'm gonna bring my wand.
I definitely want to get back. I was this close to buying.
My wand, and he gave me the spell.
Yeah, buying a wand is really, really cool. Even if you don't buy the wand, the experience of going in and watching the people do, and just being in the shop, window shopping basically, but inside this show, really cool. And then the Three Broomsticks restaurant area, like it's fan. You did walk into it though, didn't you? Or
No,
did you
I didn't even get to walk into the restaurant. I just kind of saw it from passing by. Yeah, that's why I said I was like if I was by myself that day, I would have cleared the park. But when you're traveling in a group of 13,
Sure.
it's kind of hard to even just make a decision, and restrooms and drinks and whatever all happening, but it was fun, but yeah, it was one of those things where I really wanted to explore that land. And I don't know anything about Harry Potter. It's not like I have a connection to it and it's like, oh, it's just like everything I've read in the books, or it looks just like it did in the movie. I don't know. It does. None of that registered for me.
Right.
In fact, I even, when I was talking to Casual Junior, I was like, yeah, there was this part in the ride where there's like this tree and it looks like it's going to punch you. And he's like, oh, the Whomping Willow. And I was like, yeah, whatever. But I don't even know what the heck that was. It was just like, what's this tree wants to kill me for something or something, whatever.
What do you guys think? Like, to me, like, that's kind of the difference too between Galaxy's Edge and Wizarding World is you don't have to be a fan of Wizarding World to go in and just be enamored by what they're doing. I think there's very much a confusion on Galaxy's Edge on, first of all, what Star Wars are they telling the story of? My dad would have that problem. Like, I don't. I know that it's the, as I've heard before, the
sequel
trilogy
between what is it, 8 and 9, right?
Yeah.
It's like, so it's,
but I think you can just go in and understand the generic theming of kids with magic, and it's a magic school, and kind of get that where we just had Michelle on X getting blasted for talking about characters that nobody knows on Galaxies on Smuggler's Run,
Right.
So,
Well, here's the thing. Let's talk about that for a second, because I had a weird experience at Disneyland, and I've been talking with people, and even Mrs. Casual, who is a casual fan. So I was at Disneyland the other day, and I'm at Galaxy's Edge, and I decided, I'm just going to get some pictures, some footage, look around. I'm not streaming yet. And so I'm over by the Falcon, and I'm sitting there taking pictures, and I realize, oh, look, there's Rey is underneath the Falcon, and she's like, walking, and she's like looking at stuff, and then she'd like go and pretend like she's working on something, do this kind of thing at it and work on it a little more. And she'd walk around to the other side, do the same thing. And I'm watching, and there's nobody trying to get her attention. And I'm looking around, I was like, there's nobody even, right up at the fence taking her picture or anything. And I was like, what's going on? So I get up and I, go in and get my photo, because it's like, I'm the only one paying attention to this. And here's the star of the last 3 Star Wars movies, and nobody sees her. Nobody notices.
There's a very fine line in that land between cosplaying and the character actors.
That's exactly the problem, because
now, because
of how they developed the land.
Yeah.
She just blends right in.
Well,
I would say the same thing if they put Leia in the Return of the Jedi Endor camouflage. You wouldn't recognize her as Leia right away. You'd be like, oh, there's one of the person, and then you realize, oh, she's supposed to be Leia.
So
if they have white gown, hair buns, you'd be flocking people, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know if they still sell the ropes, but a problem opening time, like when it opened, was they sold the robes, and then they started telling people you can't wear them on the property.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I was never in the market for that, so I have no
Yeah.
idea if they still sell them. But that's wild. Like,
Yeah.
Well, and that's the juxtaposition between that and the Wizarding World, right? Whereas the Wizarding World, you see a lot of people wearing their robes, their outfits, their costumes,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and it almost brings you into that a little bit further. Like, oh, yeah, there are prospective wizards here. This is kind of cool. I'm just a muggle, just hanging out right here, or
Yeah.
you know, just a normie, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
if you don't know the lore, but you understand it kind of innately.
I-
Oh, go ahead.
I bought my wand 8 years ago, or so, I don't know, like the first year it opened or something, right?
Mhm.
My son, I used it one day. My son's been using it, like all these years later, because the interactive stuff still works. At first, like he was like 3, and we bought him a fake wand, and I just stood behind him and I triggered the stuff because I was like, "That's a $60 wand. I don't want you breaking it." You know?
Right.
But now he can use it, and yeah, he plays with it. But I can guarantee you, my magic band isn't going to be worth nothing 8 years from now. It's not worth a whole lot now in the park.
Right.
But the interactive stuff that they're doing with the wands there are still cool for the kids. I mean,
Yeah, I mean that was one of the things that me and Casual Junior were talking about. It's like after you spend the $200 and something on a lightsaber, shouldn't they have something in there that when you get near something you can wave it and you do some force stuff?
right? Yeah.
If you don't mind waiting.
Sorry about that, guys. Do apologize. Wizard's having a little bit of audio difficulties there. I muted him just for a second there. The wands and the interactive aspect is another thing that kind of pulls you in there, right?
I mean, they're still doing it better a decade later.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't like you said, it was integrated kind of late in the game. It didn't necessarily open with that. Now I believe it was a day one thing for Hollywood, but I'm just talking about the original Orlando version in 2010. Those things were added on, and it really, again, further immersed you into that. From what I understand, from what I heard, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge was supposed to have those things, but were never fully integrated. And even though we got like a Magic Band Bounty Hunter experience, it doesn't read as well, I would say, as a physical action of a wand taking place and a physical reaction from your environment.
And kids around seeing actual magic being had.
Right.
Yeah. So to continue on that character thing, though, it was weird. So that was the issue, that I had with Ray, and then I went around and there was Tiana on River's Edge over in New Orleans Square. And I'm like, oh, maybe I could get my picture with her. Let me see how long the line is. And I see there's a group of people, little girl taking her picture, little girl gets done. So I think, okay, well, let me go get around, go get in line. Well, the little girl goes to the group of people and the whole group leaves. They were all her family. It was one big family. And they leave. And there's literally nobody wanting to take their picture with Tiana. So I go ask, hey, can I get a quick selfie? Sure, and blah, blah. And then I go around and I stop and I watch for a little while. Family after family are walking right past her, and this is what Mrs. Casual even said, because she's not in the dress. She's dressed like somebody who would be in New Orleans. You kind of walk right by that.
Yeah, I actually had the same experience 2 weeks ago. Me and my wife were surprised. There was a Pocahontas that was out. And nobody was walking around her because she wasn't overly Pocahontas, I guess, she's somebody that could have been wearing what she feels comfortable in wearing. And there was nobody there. So you wouldn't think that she was a character. There wasn't maybe if you get one of the cast members that are following them, that help them out or keep an eye, you would kind of get an idea, or a cameraman or something, but there was none of that. And she was just walking past Big Thunder back and forth for like 20 minutes. And I don't think she may have had one person ask to take a photo with her.
Yeah. And Mrs. Casual also noticed that the same thing, kind of the same thing happens with Belle when she's in the blue dress with the white apron thing. There's some people that were, milling about, but if she was in the yellow gown, flocks of people again, it'd be the kind of thing. And she said, people go to Disneyland to see a princess. They don't want to see they don't want to see the stepdaughter style Cinderella. They want to see Cinderella in the gown. And I even say the same thing with Mermaid. When you see her in her dress with Prince Eric, it's like, yeah, I get it's Ariel, but we want to see Ariel as the mermaid.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to see Ariel in a dress. We want to see Ariel as the mermaid.
Right.
So it's this weird thing, and I don't understand why operations at a theme park doesn't look at that and say, you know what? We tried this. We gave it a shot to be a little more realism, give it a little more, down to earth. It's not working. Let's give people those memories. Get the princesses out there.
I mean, it's not like they invested in a costume. Like they can literally just get some new clothes and
exactly.
Be more appropriate.
I remember an old story about and the lengths to which Disney used to really invest in their characters and so forth and their character meet and greets. Do you remember the old Tinkerbell series of DVDs and stories? Mm-hmm. Right, there was one that introduced, I believe, the sprite Periwinkle. I believe it was Tinkerbell's sister, and she had a very distinctive hair in that series. And so to recreate her in the parks, they spent like $10,000 on that one wig just to ensure that it was absolutely perfect for the guests visiting, and that you got a representation of the character that everybody knows and loves from what they saw on those films right there at I believe it was the Tinkerbell area just off Main Street. To have Tiana represented in this way is a very bizarre choice, number one. And I do believe it's to set up a different looks for Tiana that people will experience in the ride, right?
Right, exactly.
But like you said, like Casual said, people want to see that dress. They want to see that gown. You have the tiara, that signature iconography on the attraction itself. To not have her represented in her regalia that people have associated her with since 2009, since that movie came out. A very, very odd choice indeed.
And I could see if it was maybe, I've seen it where she's wandering in Tiana's palace. Now, if she was, introducing the band, hey, I'm Tiana. Welcome to my restaurant. We're going to play some music. Hope you all have fun. At that point, then it's perfect. Everybody's going to be loving it when she comes over to your tables. They're going to be excited. They're going to take the pictures. Right. But when she's just out like this, it's not working. And that's why I said, as just looking at it from a theme park operations, it's like, okay, we need to make sure that unless there's a context for the people, everybody to understand this is Tiana at her restaurant or whatever in New Orleans Square, we need to give a context. But other than that, put her in the gown, get her, with the gloves and everything, because that's what everybody knows. And she would have a line for, the entire half hour that she's out there. There'd be a line, there'd be cast members at the end saying, sorry, she's going to be taking, she's going to be having to go take care of something in the kitchen or something like that. She's got to go check on the recipes or whatever.
Right.
But,
she's going to get her man-eating beignets, right?
Yeah.
It just adds to the whole confusion of the whole thing that they're doing, that they're laying out with the foods, that people not knowing if it's going to be a restaurant that's being built, a new Tiana kind of hanging out around New Orleans. It just adds to the whole uncertainty, like where the normie, the average guest, doesn't know what's happening with this particular ride. I wish it nothing but the best, because I want it to succeed, because it's literally arguably was the best ride in the park. Theming aside, all that stuff, the ride was one of the best rides in the park. And if they can keep the ride and have something that works storyline better for them, but I just hope they, I hope they, obviously keep it better, improve.
Yeah.
It's tough. I do hope for the best for that attraction, because quite frankly, we're going to be with it for a period of time, right? I want everything in Disneyland to be the best it possibly could be, because let's face it, we don't want another 1998 Tomorrowland, for example, right?
Right.
We want these things to be everlasting. So we're gonna have to see on that. Jumping back over to Universal just for a second there. We went over butterbeer, right? And casual. How was your butterbeer?
It was excellent. I mean, let's put it this way: I was drinking it so fast, it was giving me the brain freeze. So that tells you, that it wasn't the kind of thing where you're just, okay, well, kind of choke it down a little bit at a time and try to get through it. No, it was. I wanted to keep drinking it.
Right.
I was kind of bummed again because I would love to try the other styles, whether it's just the cold or the hot butterbeer. I wanted to try them, and I just didn't have a chance. So it's one of those things. Again, I look at it, and this was such a perfect franchise to do this with. I don't know how, and maybe it was just J.K. Rowling. She had her hand in this and just demanded certain things, and therefore there was somebody that just had more than their heart in it. It was, obviously it's her life now, right? It's everything she's known for, the pinnacle of her work, and it's come to fruition in such an incredibly flamboyant and amazing fashion at a theme park. But yeah, it's. Is that? Yeah, that's the, the blue.
Yes, this is
contrast to the butterbeer.
Other side of this equation, right? And to your point, J.K. Rowling did go over, dozens and dozens and dozens of recipes in order to find the perfect one, distilling it down to 3 and then 5 and then 13, then 5, then 3 to get the perfect combo, right? Because she was like, okay, I want real sugar, not high fructose corn syrup. It's like, okay. And Universal's like, well, we don't want to have gluten. We don't want to have dairy or whatever. And, the melding of the minds with those amazing chefs at Universal Creative were really able to find something amazing that people just go out of their way for.
It's so good.
I'll tell you how much they do, by the way. But this is the contrast right here. Let me see if maybe I can get audio. What do you think?
I don't know if I would get it again.
No. So it didn't quite go well. This was our casual. This was our first ever trying of the blue milk at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I know it's been almost 5 years, but we just never got around to it. And finally,
and you still haven't finished them.
Yes. That's the ironic part, right?
Well, exactly that. Each of us had half, and we were still kind of like, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. We it had layers to it, right? There was some complexity there. Some people are, very, very happy with that. Others, not so much. And for a mainstream drink, it may have gone a little bit too far. This rice milk product, it just didn't hit all the notes. But butterbeer. Oh, go ahead.
You know what I told my brother? These drinks remind me of are the one chip challenge. People do them. I've done it. It's horrible. I don't know why I subjected myself to it. But every year somebody else would do it. Last year somebody didn't make it and they pulled it off the shelf. But that's kind of the thing. It's the novelty of how bad it is and how bad the experience is that makes people buy those drinks.
You might be right, and that's a terrible.
I don't know. At that point, though, you want them to go full Beverly on it, and just make it so awful that you're just like, oh god, and get the reactions.
Actually show us the animal it's being pumped out of or something. Yeah, put it over the top.
I don't know if we need that, but okay.
Oh man. Well. Maybe that's the green milk. Maybe the green milk. I've heard that maybe elicits that reaction right there. But butterbeer on the other hand, it's the cost of. Look, obviously there might be a social media implication, right, with these blue milk drinks, and it catches on, or maybe it might be the gross factor. But the cost of doing business correct is enormous, and it's kind of funny because people were asking me hey, how well did butterbeer do? And it's like, well, let me figure it out. And so we know that in 2018 they sold 20 million butterbeers on all of Universal Studios Orlando property only. By the way, this does not include Hollywood. Does not include Universal Osaka or whatever. This is just Orlando, and they sold 20 million butterbeers in 2018. 1 million in the first year. By 2018. Gross revenue would have been about $100 million right there. That's about 2.5 million gallons of just product. And by 2025, by my calculations, given the rate of increase that they've had in terms of attendance and so forth, and also the price increases that have, it started out as like $3 and now it's like $8.50. So, there's been a little bit of an increase right there, but by 2025 they should have surpassed 40 million butterbeers sold. That is $250 million or 5 million gallons of product. That's enough to fill Disneyland's Rivers of America. So, and that's just in that one resort. It is insane, unbelievably successful. And it's the parallel, right? It's the juxtaposition between let's give somebody who has been waiting to drink this for years what they would want to drink themselves, what they think it might taste like, and just this amazing drink, even if you have never been introduced to it before you actually walked in the park, versus kind of a novelty drink, right? That's the difference.
Going back to your point on like J.K. Rowling's influence in it. I think that translates right over to Nintendo too. Is if we're talking about the quality of the two lands, you got the input of your partner who owns the IP, and you listened to them, and you sat there and you took their creative input into that. And I think that's honestly, I think that's why Indiana Jones the ride is so great, and I also think that's why Galaxy's Edge might not be so great. Because you take the advice of somebody who created it. They cut their finger open. They bled it. They wrote it, and I think it matters to listen to them.
You could say the same thing with Pandora.
Right. Exactly.
You've got somebody who lives and breathes it. It's their baby, if you will. Mm-hmm. And they simply they know it inside and out, and they know what works and what doesn't. And Galaxy's Edge, it feels like it was designed by committee. There were, certain, obviously everything has certain, boxes that they want to check with merchandise and food and all these things. But it seems like it was done by, I don't want to say people that don't get it, but people that don't get it.
The standard is higher with the people who created it. Yeah. It's just that simple, and if you want that, if you want Indiana Jones to ride in and Lucas still owns us, you have to appease him. If you want Avatar, you have to appease Cameron if you don't own it. And the same thing with Mario, and the same thing. That's why, people always want to sit there and say Universal is a lower quality theme park. I think they keep lifting it. They keep rising themselves. So I don't believe that. Impressed. Like, if some of the rumors are true, I don't think Universal Hollywood can ever really surpass like a Disneyland because of the history alone. But if some of the rumors are true about Diagon Alley coming in and there being some kind of a Hogwarts Express or something going, Universal Studios Hollywood could easily surpass DCA, and that's massive. If it could, if it could take a park that was around before DCA was built, can transform itself to be better than said park, and it's a Disney brand. That's massive, in my opinion. And I think they could definitely do it if they're talking about adding a whole new land and some of the stuff with some of the rumors that theme park wizard throws out there. Sometimes we got the Fast and the Furious ride. They're just adding to this park. It's just getting better.
Yeah,
it is, and some of the CEA figures have already suggested that it might have eclipsed DCA in terms of raw attendance. We'll have to see on that and what the implications of something like that are. But like you said, Marty, it's just going to keep going up and up and up. And casual, you saw it, right? They have lifted the game here. Now, again, people compare the two, Disney and Universal and stuff, and quality. We can go on for hours about that, but just overall, your kind of impressions of Universal, where it was in your mind when you last left it, maybe like 5 years old, compared to now having first experienced it firsthand, and are you going to go back?
I will definitely be back. I don't know exactly when, but I was impressed with obviously the two latest offerings with Harry Potter and Super Nintendo World. And it seems that they're going in that direction. They are trending toward those. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to go on Secret Life of Pets. It was one of those things where the group, it's like, oh, look, we got to go on Pets, or we could go on Minions Mayhem. Everybody went to Minions Mayhem, and I'm just...
The queue itself is worth it for Secret Life of Pets.
I know. That's why I was just like, oh, you're kidding me. So, and then it ends up that whatever song was playing either during the ride or after the ride, it ended up killing the stream. So I had to restart.
Oh,
so yeah, it was just like one of those things where I'm just like, I could have been on Secret Life of Pets. But,
well,
the park as a whole is nice. I'm not gonna. Disneyland is Disneyland. You're not going to beat the theming, the ambiance, everything. But once you get into Harry Potter, once you get into Super Nintendo World, they are basically, you can see they're gunning for Disney right now.
I was just telling Dre, and I think you would attest too with what you said, Casual. One of my things that I nitpick, one of the things that I'd like them to fix is 6 o'clock is a little early, and then 7 o'clock on a Friday. That's pretty rough. Like I told Dre, like I pick my son up at school at 11. I'll go take him to Universal Studios sometimes. I leave downtown Hollywood at 6 p.m. It's like, just kill me. It's nightmare.
Yeah. That was the thing. It was like they closed at 6, and all I kept thinking was, I want to hang out more.
Yeah.
It was tragic to be there, and knowing that I missed Transformers, knowing that I missed Secret Life of Pets. Unfortunately, Waterworld was closed for refurbishment, but I would have loved to get on Forbidden Journey again. I missed out on Simpsons because
that's a tough one too. That ride's always like 60 minutes.
Yeah, Secret Life of Pets.
Slow road.
I was supposed to go with Wizard, and we walk over there, and the line was like 45 minutes, 60 minutes, and I was like, I'm not going to sit here and do that on the live stream, and and by that time it was like, all right, it's now they're closing, so. And because I was with a group and I needed to get a ride home, it wasn't like I could okay, well at 5:45 we'll get in line for Secret Life of Pets, so I couldn't even do that because it was like 6 o'clock we're gonna head out of the park. And I'm like, all right. So
yeah. Looks like you are on the right mic, Marty. Sorry about that. Do apologize.
Okay. No worries.
No, it's always tough to leave a theme park when like the sun is still kind of up, or it just went down. It's like, come on, I'm here. I made it all the way over here. I made the. Oh man, Casual for you. It's like 3-hour drive from where you're living.
Well, it takes 30 minutes just to get down to the lower lot. With the
exactly, I know.
I'm here. Like, come on.
That was actually one of the funny things. We went down to the lower lot, so we go through it. But the excitement of oh my gosh, there's Revenge of the Mummy, the Jurassic World, Super Nintendo, all this stuff is down there. I'm like all excited. When we're going back up, I think we went up like 3 of the escalators, and we get to the top of the 3rd one, and I'm like, oh my god, there's another one! Holy mackerel!
Yeah, right. It's a long way, but hey, that view though out there,
it's awesome.
Yeah, that they've got a lot going for them over there, and like I said, there's so many things that they're doing right. The Jurassic World ride was tremendous. It was one of those where I was just like, Disney doesn't do this, with the animatronics towering over you. I could not believe it. When we're going up that climb, I was just like, okay, there's the dinosaurs, and they're going to move out of the way when we get there. No, it was like right over us the whole time, and I'm just like, this is awesome. It's that's the thing that I loved about it was there were so many moments because I was experiencing it for the first time, but it made me feel like a kid.
That's
You
cool.
know, I was able to sit there and, on Forbidden Journey, I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. This is amazing. I don't know, I have any idea what's coming around the next turn. And it was so much fun. Same thing, like with Mummy, I was like, I know I've seen stuff, but okay, what is it? And then you see everything playing out and you're just like, this is so cool. And like I said, I was impressed with how well they did in those moments. I really wish I could have seen Transformers and Secret Life of Pets because I've heard they're pretty good. In Secret Life of Pets, I've seen the footage of that one. Transformers, again, that was another one where I'm like, I don't want to watch until I get on there.
Absolutely.
But Secret Life of Pets, it just looks adorable. I was like looking so forward to a classic dark ride, but didn't make it. So I have to get back.
Hey, we will get back. We'll join Marty,
Yeah.
and we will.
Yeah.
We'll grab the wizard. We'll go down there. We will see Secret Life of Pets. We'll see Transformers, and we'll get you through those shops because I'm telling you, casual, and we'll eat at Three Broomsticks as well. You got to do it. You got to see it. As amazing as your experience has been, there's only a surface scratched. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It's really, really
Seriously, I totally get that. I feel like I left so many things unseen.
Quite honestly, for as old as it is, Waterworld is still fantastic.
Oh yeah, I've seen footage of it, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, that is a really good show.
right.
I mean, it feels dangerous while they're doing it. That's the difference.
Yeah, the Purge during Halloween Horror Nights just raises it even further, which I didn't even know about. I was like, whoa, So I'm just telling you, I love that park. I love
Did
University of
you
Hollywood.
do the studio tour?
Yeah. I did.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you think of Fast and Furious?
That was one where I was just like, they should have, they come up to Fast and Furious. They should ask everybody, do you guys want to do this or should we just cruise on by?
Let's have a voting system.
Yeah, just, everybody, for
Everybody has
by, raise your hand.
a button they push. Poll the audience.
That's it. I mean, there's a place for schlock and, cheese and everything, but I'm Italian. I can take a lot of cheese, and that was just too much for me.
Good news. Look, it's got to be gone as soon as the coaster's built, right?
I hope so. Good
It
Lord.
has to be. That's why they're doing Earthquake right now. They're getting Earthquake ready to get up as soon as the coaster gets up.
They've been sending out surveys asking people, hey, with Fast and Furious coming online, do you want to see the Fast and Furious, supercharge anymore? Do you want to see something else? Do you want to see, So they're definitely testing the waters and seeing if they.
I think it's more, hey, should we just get rid of this?
You know what's funny? Is lopsided as that poll must be. It probably was lopsided as heck before we even knew we were getting a coaster. Like if even before the coaster was coming out, they just said, "Hey, what do you think about getting rid of Fast and the Furious?" It still would have been 99-1.
Exactly.
Coaster or not, it's just like no, get rid of it.
It's tough, but it was really cool seeing the back lot and seeing all that kind of movie history and seeing all those great sets.
That stuff was fun, and I did like the Kong, portion that I thought was really cool. I was on the wrong side of the tram for Jaws, so I just kind of saw the top part of the shark happening. But that stuff's fun, and those are the moments that you need those kind of things in a theme park. You need those throwbacks, to this is where we started, kind of thing. That's why I love
about. There's going to be a walking part of the tram tour now.
Right, I heard about that. Yeah.
Bates Motel all the way through War of the Worlds. Like that War of the Worlds crash scene is awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So that would be awesome. That'd be cool. And that's a throwback to what they used to do back in the day too.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a tribute to your history, and that's I think people. It may not be the biggest and flashiest thing, but there's a warmth to it, and that's kind of how you end up connected to these parks. The same thing with Knott's Berry Farm. It's that ghost town that is a real ghost town kind of thing. You feel the history there, and Knott's leans into it and allows you to remember it and cherish it and celebrate it. And if the parks were smart, and that's why I have hopes with the Cedar Fair Six Flags thing. If Cedar Fair can infuse that kind of love for your own history
Right.
in all of their parks, find out what the history is in their individual parks, because they do all have different personalities. Find that history, find out what it is that made this park what it is, and then, celebrate that and bring people back and say, you know what, we know why you fell in love with this, and we're going to give you more of it. We're going to let you, run wild in your nostalgia at times, plus giving you the new things, of course. But I really think that those are the things that connect us to the parks and why our hearts, fall in love with them.
Speaking of falling in love right here, I'm gonna lean into Marty a little bit right here for this section of our show right here, because I think Disney, we've had some issues, but I think this is genuinely one of the best things that they have done in a long time. This is the DLP Welcome right here. This is the main street, electrical sky parade.
Mm-hmm.
And this is absolutely truly wonderful. And as I was talking to Marty about this, he kind of informed me that, in terms of the drone technology and where it's at right now and how it's being incorporated, we've heard maybe some rumblings of it coming domestically, but we now know that that's a little bit more of a barrier to entry than I had previously assumed. And Marty, you have let's say you have a unique history when it comes to this, right? I don't know how much you want to share of that.
Sure.
But why don't you go ahead and give the viewers here. So I don't mean to ram the parade, but maybe why this might not be coming to a theme park near you for a little while.
Right. So I let's just say I'm related to somebody who was in the FAA during 9/11, and during that time there was a request afterwards by Disney to have their parks become a no-fly zone. They were granted that, and by the way, they were the only theme park in the entire United States to be granted that. So it's a park that only exists with them. It's something they loved and everybody else hated until it came time to fly drones. So yes. Disney's parks are in a no-fly zone, and people, that's not the same as okay, well, why can they set off fireworks? Fireworks is a separate waiver permit for 700 feet and below. These are things that other parks do. Like, they all have the firework exemptions. But if you start looking at the way the drones have gone recently, there's a reason why Dollywood has drones. There's a reason why Universal has drones. And it's because they don't have, they're not in no-fly zones that they requested.
Yes, so, and you can actually see that right here via one of the maps that I think it was Captain John D. who sent me this information right here. You can actually see the Disneyland Resort, Anaheim, right there, and you can see right at the center of it. It is under a very restrictive no-fly zone, and this is consistent not only with Disneyland, but also the Magic Kingdom, which is interesting. It buttresses up right next to Epcot, but doesn't necessarily get enveloped by it, which I believe why the Imagineers may have been going towards the drone connection or drone direction for its Lagoon show. But unfortunately, for Disneyland and Magic Kingdom, that might not be necessarily the case, right?
And so for some interesting history on this as well, Disney Imagineering in 2013 developed a pitch for a Tangled show. I don't know if the Tangled show was ever intended. It was one of their newer IPs, So I don't know if that was what their actual plan was, or if that was just their idea, their theme on the project. And drones were going to come off of the Main Street buildings and go and do like what we're seeing around the castle. They did a 2013 pitch for that. They submitted in 2014 to the FAA. The FAA waited 2 years, but in 2016, they did give Disney a 4-year drone exemption. Now, keep in mind, 2016, there's not a lot of people, if anybody, really flying like commercial drones like this. So they probably felt very good in giving Disney this exemption to test their limits, to find out how difficult this is going to be. And they told them they had 4 years. And they also said that it could be removed at any time. So I don't know if Disney if they didn't want to invest in something that only had a 4-year window, or if they were afraid that it could be cut off early. But we went into 2020 and that waiver expired and they can't get it back.
Correct. I believe there's an Orange County Register article that kind of goes into it a little bit. Washington Post, obviously, has an article on this, and Engadget actually details, I believe, the waiver, the 4-year waiver that you were talking about there, Marty. And by the way, all of this, what is it? This research here directly, all credit goes to you, sir, for bringing this to my attention, because I didn't know the extent at which this might be inhibiting drones at Disney parks, and it's really frustrating to see, because you see those amazing images over there at Disneyland Paris with this drone show, and you're just thinking like, oh my gosh, when are we going to get that? I think a lot of people have been asking that question. I have said that there might be some legal implications associated with it when it comes to flying over mass public areas, but it gets even more complicated than that.
Well, yeah, we know Disney wants to be in the drone game because they have drones flying over the El Capitan. Because guess what? It's not under a no-fly zone.
That's right. You can actually see it right here via Laughing Place.
This
right
was
here.
Wish.
Yep. Premiere of Wish back in November. And yeah, because there is not a no-fly zone restriction over the El Capitan. That's why they were able to do it, as you astutely pointed out there, Marty. But for the parks that do have a no-fly zone, this becomes really tricky, right? Because go ahead.
Oh, and it gets even bigger than just the parks, Dre. I know you follow sports, but like I said, in 2016, there weren't a whole lot of people doing this. So the FAA felt pretty decent about saying, hey, we'll give you 4 years to try this out. We want to see how it works also. Now, you look at a team like the LA Rams, who just had a Super Bowl 2 years ago in SoFi Stadium. They have a no-fly zone for game day. So they did drone shows for 4 days before game day at night to draw attention. Other sporting events also do these on non-game day or to draw attention and things like that. The problem here is now Disney, they want this waiver again, but the FAA knows it opens a Pandora's box, because how do you tell the LA Rams that they can't fly drones on game day while still not having tourist helicopters flying over their ball games and stuff? So like they almost waited too long in this, and now I don't know if they'll open up the floodgates, because there's a lot of other people that want the same opportunity.
Right. And Disney doesn't necessarily want those touring helicopters over the property, like used to be a kind of a thing there for a little while right there. You also brought to my attention, and something that we had heard in the media, but I actually have the bill right here that suggests that the House might be interested, or Congress might be interested in taking that restriction away from Disney property, both at the Magic Kingdom and Disneyland, when it comes to this no-fly zone right here. So it might be a thing where it's out of Disney's hands. We don't really know where it's going right here.
That's the other thing. This is this is where Disney can't just have handshakes with people of the City Council of Anaheim, or mayors or governors. This is federal. And if this bill is on the House floor, it's been introduced. I don't know how it'll go, but even still, just getting the waiver, you're not asking Anaheim for permission. You're asking the federal government for permission, and that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, especially, I mean, now we're on the precipice of election year, so it's from Disney's perspective, it's like, well, before we ask, let's see who we are going to have to ask, kind of thing. So it's a complicating factor. I'm bringing this up here to show you that if people couldn't see it before. This is Universal Studios Hollywood right here, just below this kind of cross right here. And that's why they're able to do drones, let's say, during Halloween Horror Nights, for example. That amazing, Dark Arts show that they have. Mm-hmm. It's just absolutely fantastic. Casual, we got to get you in there. You got to see this place when it has ambiance. It's amazing. But that's why they're able to do it, juxtaposed to Disneyland here back in Anaheim. A big old red circle right there. That's Disney's no-fly zone. So it's tough, and it pains me because when you see these amazing images over Paris, you're just thinking, "Oh, can we get this?" And it's like, no, we can't. Casual, real fast here. What did you see this show? At least online. What'd you think about it? Because
I've only seen bits and pieces of it, but it just looks fantastic. It's one of those things where you'd be just like a little kid, just sitting there in awe and smiling, and just can't wait to see it again, kind of thing.
I would like to see a performance like this augmented by fireworks, just to kind of see how that goes. I know that it gets really tricky, especially when you have temperature changes and so forth, explosions in the air. But at least during like the transition portions between these drones setting up and creating the next image, that could be kind of cool right here. And I believe we have Wizard here again. Go ahead and bring him in here real fast. Wizard, what's going on?
What's up, y'all?
Wizard?
There he is.
Do you have any last minute questions here, Wizard, before we close this out? Because I believe a couple of our guests have a hard out at the top of the hour.
Oh, I have a last minute question. What do you think of the Universal Grand Helios Hotel?
Oh yeah, we didn't even get to that. They found the sleuths on the internet, man. Well, I'll show the guys right now here. We were just watching some drones, but some sleuths on the internet were able to find very recent concept artwork of the Helios Hotel at Universal Studios Florida. This is going to be Epic Universe. This is going to be the main resort at the back of the park right here. It looks absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. Some of these images here are just like, they are breathtakingly gorgeous. What do you guys think about this? First time seeing it? What do you think?
Go ahead, Casual.
I'm digging it. I'm digging it so far.
Right? It
looks very grand. I mean, this is the first time I've seen it. This is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it's grand, but it's got some character to it. That's what I like.
I like the copper touches there. I like the sculptures. I just like it looks so ornate. It looks so high class. 500-room hotel. We can think that these are going to be very expensive rooms, but some people, they gave the Stella Nova and the Terra Luna, they gave it a little flack, and we said, guys, just relax, wait until you see Helios. It's finally here. It looks really, really good to me. So, Wizard, any final thoughts there?
Amazing! It looks amazing, Doctor.
I thought so too, Wizard. I thought so too. This looks really good. And as we heard from Michael Cavanaugh, the president of Comcast Corporation, during the Q4 2023 earnings call that they just had for Comcast, they said this: if we see that these projects pencil out good for the good return, maybe for the long term, we'd be excited in the years that follow. I can't predict when to continue to give the parks. But we'd be excited in the years that follow to continue to give the Parks and Experiences business whatever capital it requires. So big promises here from the president of Comcast right here. They're turning on the money fire hose right here. We'll have to see what projects come out of this, because as we were just saying with Universal Studios Hollywood, just that little small park, it's got a lot of charm. It's on the right track. They're building it out. And
that does not sound like $2.5 billion.
No,
Okay.
that's very true.
No.
And it depends. Now, Marty,
I think that sounds like 60 billion.
I think you're about right, Wizard.
see, I wanted to get into this, but I don't know if we're gonna have enough time. Let's see. Let's go across the panel here. Now, Casual, you have a hard out, right? At top of the hour?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Marty, do you have a little extra time?
I can probably do another 20.
Do
I don't know if
another
that's
20?
enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Sounds
Casual,
good to me.
why don't you go ahead and let the wonderful viewers at home know where they can find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, all of them at Theme Park Casual. I'll be live in the parks every now and then, giving some commentary on Twitter. But thank you again for having me on, guys. It's been fun. I
And
hope that we
actually
can
going to a
get a trip
podcast
to
right
Universal going together because, like I said, I've got so much that I missed. I really want to go see it again.
And you have a podcast coming up right now, right?
Yes, I do. I will be.
Which one?
Well,
Which one? Shout
well,
it
this
out.
is airing different times, so.
Yeah, but you could shout it out. You know.
Yeah,
where
well,
can we-
I
where
do
can
a
we find where you're
podcast
going?
with my friends Barry Place 28 and Cordy in California. We
Hell
do
yeah,
what we call the Park
streamers.
Streamers Hangout, and we do it every couple of weeks, and we just sit around and we talk theme park stuff.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much, man, for
excuse me,
joining us.
you
I
gotta
know
have-
you're.
You gotta have us on the park streamers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will definitely be inviting you guys on soon. Right now, we're just trying to get our schedules to line up right now. It's been rough.
I know, it must be hard for people.
I know you're a very busy man, Casual. Thank you so much for taking the time. This has been absolutely fantastic. We definitely want to hear your thoughts on Universal. You didn't disappoint. Thank you, sir.
All righty. Thanks, guys. See you, Marty. See you, Wizard. We'll catch you guys
Thank
next
you.
time.
Thanks, Casual.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
All right. So,
Park
Marty.
streamers. Woohoo!
Marty, you alluded to it. And we have you in the studio. I got to get your reaction right here. I meant to get to this sooner, but we were just having so much fun, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, the big news story here, and folks who are listening to the show, there should be a bigger story on Tuesday. From what we hear, we're gonna have to say that till the next episode of Theme Park Universe, unfortunately. But the big one right here: Disneyland commits $2.5 billion for a theme park expansion. Disneyland Forward proposal dangles possible projects based on Black Panther, Coco, Frozen, Tangled, Peter Pan, Zootopia, Toy Story, and Tron. I mean, it sounds amazing. What are you talking about, Marty? This sounds great.
That's a
We're just
key
over
word.
the moon about this, right?
They're dangling it.
Yeah, like
Did-
did you explain the time frame?
Yeah, well, that's where this story kind of unravels, right?
About 10 months.
Hey, if they're on a 10-month interval with $2.5 billion, sold. But unfortunately, no. This is over 10 years, which, and here's the thing, too, about this, which a lot of people maybe necessarily didn't see or maybe overlooked, right? This is $2.5 billion that they're allegedly committing to, but with a minimum of $1.9 billion. And you say, oh, why the variance right there? Well, they are really committing, truly, if this is past $1.9 billion. They have the option to spend more, 2.5, right? And if they don't, express that option, then they will just incur a $5 million penalty that they just pay the city to do with what they please. That's really the real story, right, Marty?
Well, I mean, yeah, like 5 million is the minimum.
Yes, yeah. 600 million versus 5. That's a tough one.
Like, exactly. Like,
I mean, honestly,
chump change.
if we
It
could
jumps.
if we could just take a look at like what we got in the Disneyland Resort over the last say 4 years, roughly 4 years. Avengers Campus,
Okay.
San Francisco retheme, Mickey and Minnie Toontown. I'm sure Tiana's in there. I mean, how just in that? Okay, that's normal spending.
Right.
And downtown Disney. Not to mention that Disney Forward is sitting on the stuff they're building in downtown Disney. So if you take that stuff into account, like that they've already spent, like we're probably about like that's the budget right there for that stuff. So this is This is normal spending, if not less.
Wizard.
And then Marty, you have to you obviously look at the past, but look at the future. You look at past 2024, and then it's like you're driving in the desert because there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Nothing
I,
there.
I told Dre, I said our Avengers e-ticket is going to be a re-theme of Monsters Inc., isn't it? Isn't it?
Hey, you know, at this point, let's all take it.
It's look. Marty has expressed this beautifully. I'll go ahead and just add a little bit more to this right here. Back in 1991, this was before the Disneyland Resort, as we know it today, was approved. This was 10 years before almost, with the Westcott project, right? A lot of Anaheim residents seem to remember that, as Marty astutely pointed out over to me over the phone. And this will be relevant. When Westcott was making its way through, Disney was actually thinking about allocating as much as $3 billion towards that one project in order to make the Disneyland Resort, into what was going to be Walt Disney World 2.0, essentially, right? That was back in 1991. We are getting less in these 10 years to transform Disneyland Resort into what you maybe see before your eyes right now. Over 10 years than what we got 30 years ago in 1991 from the Walt Disney Company. That's why
that price, by the way, I think what was about $7 and $8 billion now.
Yeah. Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. With construction costs, supply chain issues that we're experiencing right now, inflation, absolutely. They skyrocket. We were thinking, what? Maybe this should be maybe 6 to 8 at minimum, maybe even as much as $10 billion. I mean, honestly, right?
Well, like something I had mentioned was Dim Tai Fung that they're building, and the new lawn area with the concert and stuff like that. That is sitting on Disneyland forward plans. Dim Tai Fung is going to have a 10-year lease. So I'm thinking they're really not building that third gate. They're going to build shops and hotels on Toy Story, and that's where $2.5 billion is going.
Sorry about that. I'm trying to find.
Definitely could be, and you know what? It'd be hilarious if all that stuff gets wiped out. Then Earl of Sandwich has to move yet again to the new spot.
like spot number 20.
Yeah.
I thought I had those images
all
up to
these
show.
numbers.
Please.
I would say Now this number they had to do because it's development agreement, so it's with the city. But the other numbers that they always say, the 60 billion, I mean, as you said, Dr. Dre, Universal, they don't give you any numbers. They just build something and say, here you go. Disney's too busy giving you numbers. Look at all this big money we're going to spend. And then they do the opposite. And they give you a big number, then it takes 80 years for it to happen.
Versus Universal, they just give you projects. Here's what we're gonna build in Frisco, Texas. Not a number. This is what we're gonna build. Here's what we're gonna build in Vegas.
In fact,
here's what we're gonna build in Epic Universe.
For Universal, it takes you like digging and digging and digging just to get the number.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Versus Disney, they're like, okay, well, let's do the what if thing. Let's promise the big number. $60 billion, Marty. Come on. This is huge money. Where can we spend it?
Well,
I mean,
it's almost like how a scam artist works. When they're trying to sell you the car, like, oh my god, look at all these features. Oh my god, it's great. And then the real good salesman just says, look, let me give you a test drive in the car, and tries to downplay the car, doesn't show you the big flashy stuff, and it's just a good car. Shows you got the good specs. Disney's like the scam artist here with the big dollar amounts.
Isn't that kind of what they did with Universal Florida too? Like with Velocicoaster, they just started building a coaster, and everybody's
and then they called it a churro stand.
Yeah, and nobody. Yeah, exactly. Dude, they under-promised and over-delivered. Right. That's the way to do it.
Right.
But they have a track record. They do that. Disney's track record is completely opposite. For years.
Today, for example, I was just talking to Dr. Dre about why, and Marty, you can even answer this, why Disney stopped pass holder previews, right, today? Or, because I know they won't do any soft openings, but like today, Universal just tweeted, hey, guess what, guys? The Power Up Cafe, soft open, come and enjoy. And I didn't give some big flashy thing, just did it. Here it is. And yet Disney can't even give you a pass holder preview anymore about not alone a cafe, but even a new ride. I don't
Nah,
get it.
that was an awesome little tweet that they put out. I was like looking at the food. I was like, oh, this is cool.
Right, right. You can see right here where this monorail bends right here. Just beyond that is the downtown Disney portion that they're currently in construction building, right?
Wait
But
a
you can
second. Are
see
you saying we have our own Beyond Big Thunder, but it's called Beyond the Monorail Beam?
it's beyond the monorail beam. That's right. But you can see like there's like a themed land here or whatever. You can see some rock work, and it's like, well, wait a minute, that's where they're building downtown Disney now. To your point, Marty, it's just that their actions now don't necessarily indicate that they're going to build any of this, especially with that hard number.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, folks, I mean that's 2 hotels and resorts as well. Remember, Grand Californian back in 2001 cost about $600 million on its own, and we know that the Disneyland Resort is at a very significant deficit when it comes to this.
I feel we're so far removed from the Disney that was going to give us something, showed us what they were going to giving us, and then delivered that thing. And I think it's really important now to pay attention to the words that are coming out of their mouth when they sit there and they say it's a 30-year project. When they sit there, when they show us the plan for Disney Forward, and buildings that they are currently making right now are on that plan, but not in the Disney Forward plan. I don't know what's going to happen. But we saw this with the concept art in front of Tomorrowland
Right.
5 years ago. We've seen this with Avengers E-Ticket. The last, correct me if I'm wrong, is the last concept art we got for Avengers E-Ticket the one that had Thanos that looked like Chapek?
Yes.
I believe, wasn't there like a ride vehicle one that was released a little bit later?
Yeah, kind of. But that's the King Thanos, but then it was like in the little corner. But it actually just got me thinking when you said 30-year project. As you know,
Please.
this is just a specific plan thing. It's an urban planning term, but it's like a zoning plan that lasts for a while.
Right.
Now, Universal has theirs. Hollywood has theirs called the Evolution Plan, passed in 2013. Also a 30-year plan. But if you look at the differences on how it was presented, they did it just to the people that they needed, the community and the city got their approvals. But even then. Now I'm thinking about they didn't give out any number. They didn't say I'm going to spend $2 billion on Universal Hollywood, and it's the same type of thing here. They're doing the same thing, rezoning. They didn't give out any flashy numbers. They just said, here, this is what we want. Gave to the city, and they just did it. They didn't make it a big splashy show. People didn't know. When it was approved, they told you. And then, actually, by the way, when it was approved, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter started that summer construction. That summer is when that thing started. After it was approved. So, God, these Disney's over just a big showman guy. And once again, like a scam artist. Well, just talk, which is Josh tomorrow. God, he should go to jail. No, he should, but come on. He's, he's like a con artist. Smiles and what ifs. Whereas Universal did the same thing. And you gotta again go and investigate what was actually approved, because they don't just tell everybody and show everybody. They just do it. We got it approved. All right, now let's start building something.
If Disney doesn't use the Toy Story lot for a third gate, it's criminal, and they will never get that land back. I mean,
come on, it's 76 acres. You can't just put a whole bunch of shops there. I mean, especially when you're, like you said, Marty, you're putting downtown Disney right there on the concept art. Why not just use that big parking lot for a nice lake and a new hotel or something,
Or better yet, I don't care what it costs. You should have bought Garden Walk when it was for sale.
That too.
Because you're never getting that opportunity. I mean, whatever it costs, it was for sale. I mean, you're in negotiations. You paid $70 billion for Fox. Christ, I mean, buy Garden Walk and
You can see where the garden walk it actually is on this map right here. It's in kind of the bottom right corner where you can see Toy Story lot and the area right above it, right below this proposed parking structure, which we'll get into in a moment, is where the garden walk is. And that's a perfect way in which you can navigate your guests from whatever you build in the Toy Story lot to that parking structure and then ultimately to the Esplanade Disneyland Plaza, whatever you want to call it. It's unfortunate that they haven't actually acquired that because it's come up for sale, I think, 2 times, and they have passed both times. And it's a very strange decision when you're talking about the future of what is Disneyland Resort that is just legendarily landlocked. You can.
I mean, I told you, Dre. I believe that 7-Eleven on the corner on Harbor is invaluable. Like whatever they want, buy it from them.
Yeah. And I know there are various shell corporations. It's actually how they got the Carousel Inn back in the day. There are various shell companies that the Walt Disney Company has constructed in which they own parcels of land that they necessarily haven't disclosed yet. They operate hotels and so forth that, they're on borrowed time, let's say. But to not buy the Garden Walk is a fascinating kind of thing. You're never going to get that plot of land back, at least that much, especially as it connects between your two properties right there.
I don't know when the last time, if you've been to it, it's dead. Mm-hmm. It is dead.
It always is. Always
has.
Is,
yeah, and it has been for very, very long time, which is why they want to sell it. But I mean, it's like, I can't fathom whatever they were asking how it wouldn't have been worth it. You're gonna let a contractor come in there and put a tower housing and lose the third gate forever.
Now, I did hear. I remember a while ago. I remember reading like a rumor or something, apparently from someone in the know, that at least the current owner of the Garden Walk, for some had like a stipulation or some kind of clause, something where it said, I will not sell to Disney. I don't know why. I guess he didn't like him, but I don't know how true that was. But it seemed like I heard the owner really did not want to sell to anyone else besides Disney. So I don't know if that plays a factor.
Money talks.
Right,
money talks. It's an interesting idea. I think there are ways to get around that, but right now,
I mean, because you said money, you gotta wonder how much did Disney offer if they did. How much does maybe someone can offer more? I don't know.
I know it has changed hands at least once, and it was rock bottom price or whatever.
You know what? I say Universal Comcast buys it and opens a kid park.
That would be great.
Oh, Universal might. You're giving them ideas here, Marty. But right now, the Disneyland Resort has three hotels, right? 3.5. Okay, with the villas. Mm-hmm. Totaling about 2,863 rooms. And it's had essentially that room count for forever.
And we did that math today, by the way.
We did. Lead up to a couple of shows here. But Universal Studios Hollywood, they're in the process of building 1,000 rooms right now, currently, on Universal Studios Hollywood. This resort right here services, 120,000 people at max? And you're only going to be, it's been at 3,000 for this time period. We would assume that if Disneyland Forward is actually approved, that a lot of this money is going towards that. Like I said, folks, Grand Californian back in the day, 20 years ago, was about $600 million. When you look at 2.5 and you think, okay, well, $1 billion of that at least has to go towards resort hotels. And then maybe we get some theme park expansion in some places, but then you have to set up infrastructure. You have to you have to completely renovate the existing areas that currently are right there. it gets whittled down very, very quickly. And then that's not even including the 17,000 space parking structure that they're now talking about building, because if they use the Toy Story lot, they're going to have to make up for those 8,000 spaces. You're talking about...
Also,
Oh, go ahead.
that parking structure we discovered is those new land, basically. It's equals a new land because, think about it. It has restrooms. It has vending machines, so that's your merchandise or your food location. And it has escalators, so that's your ride. So that could be your immersive new land as
Oh yeah.
part of Disneyland Forward.
Hey, look, in Wizard, if you haven't been to Mickey and Friends or Pixar up here, they're selling the magic bands, the ponchos, all that stuff out there now before you even get on the tram.
Oh yeah,
Before,
that's true. See, so there's your merchandise. So
Right, you get the merch.
Land.
Oh, no. Listen, folks, there are some things about this that I like. The $90 million of improvements around there, pretty good. The street purchases is a very interesting choice. The land bridges will definitely help traffic. But, not super impressed, especially when you consider that, there are some figures being thrown around right now at Universal Studios Florida that they might be spending as much as $17 billion on that resort over the next 10 years. And that is, without Epic Universe, it's pretty similar in scope and size to what we have here. Why are they spending many times what we are spending in the next 10 years over there? It is bizarre.
Yeah, that is weird.
Very, very strange. But
Yeah.
Marty, thank you so much for joining us right here for this presentation. You've been a really great trooper here. I know we've had some scheduling things that we've been playing around with. You've been a champ with that. Please tell the viewers where they can find you.
you'll find me on X at Marty084. And that's basically only place I'm hanging out, other than the parks.
Hey, man, that's right. And you're in the parks quite a bit. The only person I would ever defer to when it comes to daily theme park operations is you, because you know so much. Mandatory follow, guys. Please check them out. Wizard, anything else you want to tell the viewers before we let everybody go?
Yes, Marty, we gotta have you back on, man.
For sure, buddy. Thank you so much for the invite.
You're welcome. Come back anytime. And come to Universal Studios Hollywood.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I invited the whole gang out, so hopefully, Wizard, we can get together and do the attractions that Casual himself wasn't able to do the last time. So
yeah, he couldn't do Secret Life for Pets. I tried, but the line was too long.
Or Transformers, or all kinds of other stuff. So. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. You can find me, Vash Guy, on Twitter. You can also find me at Fat Park Place for all the news that should be fun. Live streams every day at noon, so definitely check out those. Theme Park Universe, wherever you are listening to this, please give it a subscribe, give it a like, give it a follow. And thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye, everybody.